Peace and love, sisters and brothers. I am Trump the Hippie, your psychedelic president. Keep watching for one of my great peace rallies. Each is different. Help make them go viral. Thanks for your warm welcome, everybody. Thank you very much. I always draw the biggest crowds. Thank you, thank you. I always draw the biggest crowds because I'm the best at everything, of course. But humble. I'm also one of the most humble people you'll ever meet, ever. And we're going to have a wonderful time here today. I'm Trump the Hippie, of course. Maybe some of you haven't heard how hip I am. Well, when you leave today, you're going to say, that's the hippest guy I ever met. Yeah, you're going to say that. And of course, the country is so privileged to have me running it because they've had a bunch of squares up till now. Oh, a bunch of straight-laced, straight-ass. Oh, it was miserable. The country has suffered so much. There hasn't been a president with hair this long, even for 150 years. Look in your, what is that? You kids look in the Wikipedia. So look in there in Wikipedia, and you'll see all the presidents. They're all straight-ass, short-haired. A lot of them slave owners and everything, if you go back far enough. Anyway, we're going to have a great time here tonight. You're my people. I love you. I love you if you're highly educated. I love you if you're poorly educated. That's hip, you know. So you're going to, and because I'm not your ruler, I'm your servant. So you're going to be able to talk with me. You're going to be able to ask questions. You can clap. You can cheer, you can boo, you can razz me, you can ask me the hardest question, you can insult me. Go ahead, I love it. Okay, it's coming. Okay. Good. We'll bring the microphone down to you when you're ready. Just let me do a little bit of introduction, and then we'll get right into the audience participation. I know this is a real hot crowd tonight. This is great. This is a love fest. This is a hippie love fest. Reminds me of 1967. Haight-Ashbury. Oh, I love it. I'm loving it. All right, so now, just to give you one little piece of evidence as to how hip I am, I decided to build a building here in Vancouver. Canadians deserve me too. So I got this place on West Georgia and my partners, and we built this building, but it's no ordinary building. Well, of course, it's the tallest building of Vancouver, you know, that fits my image, right? Biggest, best, phallic symbol. So it's the tallest. It doesn't look like it's the tallest because there's another building that's shorter, but it's on a higher piece of land. Anyway, mine's the biggest and the best. But when we built this, it's not just a regular straight building. No, it's not straight, it's hip. It's twisted, in fact. Have you seen it? Yeah, it's like this. It twists as it goes up. It has a big twist in there. I love the twist. I'm twisted. In fact, at my high school reunion, I won the twist contest. Round and up and down and do the twist. Come on, baby, let's do the twist. Yeah. Oh, I love the twist. Yeah, and the gals love it too. I have to fight them off. Now, of course, the media, the fake media, they got it all wrong. No, I have to fight them off, but they make it sound like they have to fight me off. No way. They got it all backwards. Of course, they get everything backwards because they're the straight media. I'm from the 60s. We had the underground newspapers, the alternative media, FM radio stations. That's what's hip. That's where you get the real truth. But no, I don't grab anybody. I don't need to. They can grab me a little bit, which they do sometimes. But anyway, no, I don't grab anybody. You look at the actual transcript of that fake media about how supposedly I'm all hands. No way. Look at that. I said, they let you. They let you, I said. I didn't say, I did do it. I did grab. I didn't say I grabbed. I said they let you. That's how desperate they are to get a rich man in our patriarchy. How sad that is, right? Because I'm a true feminist. So that's really sad. And that's what I was trying to point out. But they get all twisted around to get their corporate media stooge Hillary in there and try to make me look bad just because I'm a man. No, that's not hip. All right, so we're getting ready for, are you audience members all getting all hyped up, ready to give me your toughest question? Anybody?
This is more of just a technical, it's just a question about the brochure. Why is there no L in friendly?
Well, I work, well, okay, you didn't know this perhaps, but I went to an Ivy League school, right? One of the top schools in the world, University of Pennsylvania, and I did good in everything, even English. And so if you look in English, if you put the ly at the end of a word, it makes it into an adverb, right? So this is using it as an adjective, so it's friendly, not friendly. Anyway, we don't want to get off on this tangent, but I just want you to know that I know much more about English than you do, or about anything, in fact. But I love you. I love the poorly educated. All right, you want to say something else? Okay. He admits defeat. He admits defeat, but he's on my team, so he's great. He's beautiful. I love him. He's on my team, unless he says otherwise. Are you ready yet? She's always ready.
I studied philosophy of the wise and the sophists. And there is a wise hippie and a sophist hippie. The fake hippie. Namely, hippies don't wear clothes. You're wearing clothes.
You've never
stripped and made love, not war. Then in actions, we need to see your nipples vibrating.
I can see your nipples, and they're really vibrating, I'll tell you.
Yes, well,
and that's great.
That's where hippies are. And it's the breast of life. And plus, hippies don't sit in chairs. They sprawl. They hang out. They let it all hang out. Fake?
All right, okay, she's trying to steal the show, and that's good, that's good. Maybe you can be the next president after me. Let's have a big hand. Let's have a big hand for the upstager in chief.
And they don't go by a schedule.
Okay, I'll get to your points. All right, so your points are hippies don't sit in chairs. Perhaps you are going by the Time magazine definition of hippie. I remember in 1967, Time magazine had this article. Hey, you know what the youth are doing? They're becoming hippies. And I thought, hippies, what's that? And then there was that song from a few years earlier. The South Street is the name of it. North Street, South Street, the hippest street in town. And that's from the black ghetto. So the hippies started in the black ghettos. The original hippies were black. Hipsters, hippies, it's all the same thing. And so the original meaning of hip or hippie, hipster is knowledgeable, wise, up to date, know what's happening, man, right? Not whether you sit in a chair or not. You're the phony hippie with the Time magazine definition of hippie. But since you're top free, okay, she has lots of estrogen. That's great. I have testosterone. Could be a match. But you won't get the mic the whole time. But you're really livening up the audience. I really love that. So all the other questioners are going to look dull next to you. Next to you, they'll look dull. But that's okay. They don't mind looking a little dull. All right, we have a hot one here.
Okay, I know this is really dull, but who do you think Mueller's going to take into custody on Monday?
Who's going to take in Mueller? Who's Mueller?
He's the guy prosecuting everybody for the Russian. Yeah, he's the Russian. What do you call him? The Russian. He's investigating the Russian collusion.
Okay, they haven't clued me in about this yet, or if they have, I forgot. So, my son-in-law. Okay, so everyone's expendable. So let me. So let me clue you in about how I'm doing this job. Okay, so you might think that in order to be the best president, you should hit the books and read all the history books and all the political science books, and go out and kiss a few babies. No, that's not how you be a good president. That's the losers before me. That's how they were president. No, I don't know much about government, but I know how to relate to the people. That's my job. Relate to the people, hire and fire, right? So I'm not the expert on everything. I can't be the expert on everything, but I can hire and fire. I was a top TV star just for hiring and firing. That was the show. So that's what I'm doing as president. You knew what you were getting into when you voted for me, and that's what you're getting. Hire and fire.
I have a question.
Okay, just let me finish that. So I don't even remember the names of all the people I've hired, but I know I keep tabs, and if anybody gets into hot water, then I either support them or I fire them, and I check up on everybody. If they don't do something spectacular soon, they're out too. All right.
Were you elected because more of a protest vote?
Well, in political science, that would be a facile label for my style. Yes, so yes, but it's much more than that. Much more than a protest. So you look at what happened in this last election. So there was Bernie Sanders, the outsider candidate for the Democratic Party. He never belonged to the Democratic Party. He was against the Democratic Party, but he invaded with a hostile takeover, kind of like Occupy Wall Street. Well, I occupied Wall Street too, way before the movement. So he came in as an outsider, taking over the Democratic nomination. We were a tag team. I'm doing the same thing on the Republican side. Hostile takeover of the Republican Party, because they're both failures, both total failures, serving the people. Not really, they're kleptocracies, they're serving the kleptocracy. So that's what it was. So Bernie and I, like a tag team, one of us had to get in there, and of course the best one got in there. So, does that answer your question?
Yes, I understand.
Okay, enough humming and hawing. So sit there and think, and then you'll come up with another good question.
Given your comments on national television, international television, about pussies, what advice would you give to Harvey Weinstein?
He's not a personal friend of yours then.
Oh, no.
Or you'd know him by name. All right, unless that was Hairy. So what advice would I give to the women with... to Harvey himself. Get on my team, but in the background, because you can't spoil my reputation. Get on my team and serve me and do what you can, and maybe I'll help rehabilitate your opinion, your reputation.
But how did what you have to say differ from Harvey or Harry?
I thought I explained to you that I didn't grab anybody, that was the fake media. That was the fake media. I said they let you. They let you grab their pussies. That's what I said. Not that I did it or that it was a good thing. You see? You see the difference?
Then how did you know? How did you know they let you if you didn't do it personally?
I could have seen it happen with other men. Because this was in a crowded venue. This was not in some little hotel room like Harvey is accused of. I don't know if he did it or not. I wasn't there. But yeah, that's my advice. Well, he's rich anyway. He can, if he needs counseling or whatever. But he's low self-esteem. If he's guilty, I don't know. If he's guilty, then he's a low self-esteem loser. I'm not low self-esteem, and I'm not a loser. Either one. So he and I are opposites, but I would say to him, like I say to anybody, make yourself great again, and you'll do fine in the world. Like with the same with the competitors. They were trying to get the nomination. They had no hope against me. 16 loser Republicans. What a sorry lot they were. Except that if they come over to my side, all is forgiven. Like that black guy, what's his name? Ben Carson, Dr. Ben Carson. Like he was competing against me, but then he came over to my side. Fine, I put him in the cabinet, right? I needed a token black anyway. So if you're on my side, everything's cool. Everything's cool. It's a game, right? You can't take life too seriously. This is all this human life that we have. You can't have a narrow view of it. You have to have a broad, hip view, like make it into a psychedelic experience. And by that, I don't mean drugs. I mean a true psychedelic experience, which is better without drugs. So that's what I did with the 16 stupid Republicans. I knocked them off one by one. And then, because they all represent the kleptocracy, the plutocracy, the corporate elite. I don't owe those guys anything. I came in on purely my own steam. I even paid for most of the campaign expenses. And I spent half as much as Hillary, and she still couldn't win, because the people were tired of somebody representing the corporate elite. They wanted a renegade. I'm a renegade from the corporate elite, because I still am. I still own lots of stuff. I am the corporate elite, but I don't owe anything to the others. I'm independent. I'm a renegade. You see how hip I am? I think I'm winning everybody over. Nobody's booing. Come on, let's have somebody pretend they hate me and start booing at least. Well, you don't have to. I'm not going to force you. All right.
You deserve second billing.
You want to be in the program?
Oh, but I want to know what you were trying to accomplish when you were in Puerto Rico by throwing paper towels into the audience instead of food and water.
I don't remember doing that. I don't know. I'll have to look at the tapes and see if I'm guilty or not on that one. Paper towels. Maybe somebody had stuffed themselves so much and they dribbled food on their shirt or something. I don't remember. What did you see that?
No,
Do you have some other question?
not at the moment.
All right. All right. Now I have such a lively crowd tonight that I haven't even looked at my notes. But I have lots of notes here in case I forget. I don't read the teleprompters very often. I have to sometimes to be formal, but I just love it when I'm just talking like friends with my friends here. But I do have a few notes to remind me of the different things that I wanted to say. Hostile takeover, I said that, yeah. Guaranteed jobs. This is a favorite of mine. So the Democrats, they position themselves in this little stupid game they play as the nice ones, and the Republicans are position themselves as the harsh realists, and the Democrats as the airy-fairy liberals. This is all positioning. They're the same, really. But so the Democrats have this reputation as being for free lunch. They want to give people stuff free, and the Republicans saying, no, people have to work. They shouldn't get free stuff. This is the little game they pretend to be playing. But in reality, what we need is full employment. That's, sure, you have to give people free stuff sometimes. But mainly what people need is a chance to participate in the economy and the dignity of feeling like they're on the same team. Now, I know a lot of the Democrats wouldn't play sport at all, but I was a star in all the sports. And I appreciate the value of team spirit. And if the people are all working at a job they like, or at least can stand, then they're going to feel like, hey, I'm of value in this society. Society and government has found a place for me. I'm no longer trash thrown out onto the street. I'm no longer homeless. I'm no longer jobless against my will. Society has found a place for me. I might not be king, I might not be rich, but I am employed because the government has said we're going to have full employment, and the government will hire anybody that, if the private enterprise won't hire you, the government will, so that every single person over the age of 18 or with a high school diploma can get into the jobs program. I call it guaranteed jobs or the job guarantee. It's in Wikipedia. Look it up. Look it up. So everybody deserves to work if they want. Now, I'm not for slavery. We're not going to make people work who don't want to work, but they're going to be so happy that the whole country is getting more prosperous, because the more people work, the more prosperous everyone gets. The rich people get richer with no unemployment.
So for most of human history, humans did not work full time. And with automation, we're headed that way again. So why do you want to have everyone work?
I don't want everyone work. I want everyone who wants to work up to 8 hours a day, guaranteed. But they don't have to work 8 hours. They can work 4 hours if they want.
Then why don't you just give a guaranteed annual income that's adequate and let them do as they please?
That's the Democratic Party way, because they're for free lunch. You want to give them a free lunch for nothing, so they just sit home. What am I going to do? Society hates me. I'm alienated. I think I'll play computer games or shoot up some heroin or that new stuff that has a Y in it, fentanyl. No, you're leading people on a life of hopelessness and alienation. I want to integrate everybody.
Now, usually, the Republican Party, at least, part of them would say that we should have liberty. So why would you want to, force people to, why not just distribute some of the wealth of the country and let them do as they please?
I think that you're talking about the libertarians, and they hate me, and I don't love them so much either, except when they vote for me. But you're saying, I think, that the libertarians would rather have free money than guaranteed jobs? No, I don't think they would.
No, but I mean, you seem to imply that people that are not working are somehow bad people.
No, I say they can get disillusioned and dispirited because they want to work. They want to earn some money, and they would take free money, but they would feel better about earning it.
You're presuming that people that are not working in the classical sense are somehow unfulfilled.
No, not necessarily. But also, even if they're raising children, they can work. Because this idea that modern society has is that a woman staying home taking care of children is not working. No, that's working too. So, but there's also a long tradition. I even remember in the 60s we learned about how in China the women went out into the fields with their babies strapped to them breastfeeding while they worked in the fields. So you can do two things at once. Women are good multitaskers, but maybe they're not quite as efficient, but we'll still pay them the same as the men if they do that. But it's if they want to. We're not forcing anybody, and we're not telling them to feel bad if they don't work. We're just giving them the option. You see that?
Well, that's fine that they have the option. It seems to me in a country so wealthy, you wouldn't need to be stingy with, having some platform of a good life for everyone in the country. And may I remind you, too, that you had libertarian tendencies in the campaign. For example, you supported the legalization of marijuana, that the state should make this choice. So now you're renouncing this.
No, I'm not. I do have some things in common with the libertarians, but I'm not. But that's more of a peripheral issue. I'm not on economic issues. I'm not with the libertarians because their basic idea is make government as small as possible. And no free lunch for anybody, and if they starve, it's their own fault, but they probably won't because maybe some charities will come and save them. That's the libertarian position, but I'm not a libertarian. All right, we have a hot audience tonight. No. You're all good. I love the poorly educated too. I think she has a degree. Oh, do you have a degree too?
Yes, elementary school, primary, yeah, anyway, go
All right,
ahead.
her turn.
All right. During in the 1970s, the radical religious right in Colorado Springs, Colorado, came up with a manifesto of 28 points. I can't help but link the 28 points of your platform on your to be elected as president to the radical religious right. And I know you were backed by the Koch brothers, by Coors, and one other group that I'm thinking of, Almond Roca people, and Pat Robertson, and all of these people who are the radical religious right. Do you think the reason you were elected president was because of the radical religious right and the good Christians of this country?
Not at all. Okay, let me. I will. Wait, okay.
Included infiltration of the media, and then getting onto the school boards, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, so that you could finally get into a position of power.
You made some interesting points, but first of all, you have to realize how extremely different I am from every other president. The closest they come is Andrew Jackson or Teddy Roosevelt. But hold on, I'm getting to that. So, but I have to preface it with a little bit of Native American spirituality here. All right, I know you're going to get offended, but listen, give me a chance. I believe there's a character sometimes called a trickster, maybe a raven, maybe a fox or something. Okay, I've read about this. Yes. So I am the trickster. So at first glance, I look like a Republican, but I'm not really. I'm an outsider come in to take over the Republican. Those rich people you mentioned and all the other rich, normal Republicans hate my guts. Every one of them, they're playing along with me at times to try to get position themselves to take over, to defeat me or to take over after me. They're all positioning themselves, but they all hate me because I'm not one of them. I didn't need any of their money. They tried to give me money, and I refused a lot of it. I took a bit, but mostly I paid for my campaign with my own money because I didn't want to be beholden to any of them. And even if I did take some money, I don't need their money to be re-elected. So I'm beholden to none of them. And so we'll get back to your other point. I'm smart. I can remember your points. Why is my platform similar in some ways to libertarians, in some ways to the rich plutocratic Republicans? Why is my campaign similar and my positions similar? Because I'm a trickster, I'm a changeling, I'm a negotiator. I go this way, then I go that way. It's like a football game. How do you get to the goal? It's not always a straight line, is it? I was a star football player. So yeah, you might think, oh, he looks just like a Koch brothers type. No, total opposite. Total opposite to the Koch brothers. Any similarity you might find to my platform and what they want is purely strategic. Purely strategic. So I align myself with some right-wing Christians for strategic value. So I get them on my side, and then I try to negotiate what's best for the people. We come to some kind of win-win solution where they can win and their opposition can win too. This is why I'm going to win in a landslide for re-election, because I'm going to get support from both sides. Well, I already got support from both sides. I had a lot of Greens voting for me, and I had a lot of Bernie people voting for me, even if they didn't tell their wives, because they wanted to get a little bit that night. So this is how I got it all figured out, you see. And I do it in my spare time. I can still golf and run my businesses and come up to Canada and show you what you're missing here by not having me. Because, you know, maybe after president I'll be prime minister or secretary general of the UN. I've got lots of energy. I'm a health nut, you know. I'm going to last forever. And humble too. All right. We'll give you another minute if you don't screw it up too much.
A fake hippie serves almighty dollar. You would not be able to do what you're doing without yang dominating yin, the almighty dollar dominating anything organic for a profit. Now, what would you undo the Monsanto Protection Act? Would you make a clear statement that Codex Elementaris is how to poison the infrastructures of life? Would you make a...
Okay, any of these things, the answer is, yeah, I could do any of that stuff. I could, I'm just getting started. No, you're not setting my agenda. Who's setting my agenda, all right? So you got to figure out who is setting my agenda. I am setting my agenda based on the vibes. I'm a hippie. It's the vibes. Okay, I get the vibes. Okay, the Codex Elementary, whatever it is. If I get the vibes, this is a rising issue. The people are pressuring me. It's in the news media. It's on Fox News. Then I figure out, okay, how can I use this? How can I serve the people? How can I do what's right? I don't have it all planned out ahead of time. I'm spontaneous.
Genetic modified is a poison.
Okay, genetic modified. Okay. No, I'm hip. Hold on. You don't have the mic. So, but I'll respond. She says, GMOs are bad. But I'm hip. I'm hip to this. This is why you've heard I like my steaks done well done, right? But do you know why? Because I want the heat to kill the GMOs. See, this is my genius, you see. Okay, people call me insane. Then if I'm so insane, how did I get... If I'm insane, how did I get to being president? This is the mistake. Money, my own money. My money, yes, my own money.
Well, I hear GMO and that you have your steak well done and whatnot, but can you tell us why you're cutting back the EPA and why it is that you would like to decommission the abortion clinics? If it isn't because of a religious background, why are you cutting the EPA? Why are you threatening already threatened species in Yellowstone National Park, for example?
Okay, you have to realize it's all strategic, like a football game. So sometimes you have to run toward your own goal a little bit, right? You have to wind your way through the obstacles. So this is what I did with abortion. So before I ran for president, I didn't care about abortion. I'm from New York City. Nobody's much is against abortion in New York City, but I was doing my play. I was doing my play to get elected. So I got the anti-abortion people on my side now, but I won't necessarily always stick with that. But I'm going to try to please them because they're on my team, right? So I'm going to try to appease them and appease the other side. This is what's so difficult about being president. You got to please both sides, but I'm the top negotiator in the world. I'm going to do it. I'm going to have a win-win solution. The pro-abortion people, the anti-abortion people are going to be both pleased with my solutions that we get to when we get to the goal at the other end of the football field. You see my strategy? See crazy like a fox? This is what you got to do to be the best president ever.
Your North Korean policy, please. I mean,
I don't have policies. I have strategies.
simple language. What are you going to do about North Korea, if anything?
Use my usual strategy, which is to outfox the enemy and to get everybody on my side in the end. On the side for world peace.
I have a North Korean question too. You're going to visit Korea next week. What safeguards are you putting in place to keep from being assassinated?
Well, that's not my job. That's the Secret Service. It's my job to make sure the Secret Service doesn't go off the deep end and fall into with some conspiracies to assassinate me themselves, like might have happened to other presidents.
And what directions have you given your generals and the staff in the face of your possible demise while you're in Korea? What are they to do? Bomb the hell out of North Korea?
You think I'm going to tell you? Does a football player scream their signals to the other side? No, they give secret signals. They give secret signals so their own team knows what they're doing. You're not on my team.
Okay,
yet.
Question that's related to that indirectly. Why the hell, after all this time, have you released the John F. Kennedy assassination information?
Well, I've been pushing the release for a long time. I was about 17 when Kennedy was assassinated, and it hurt me like it did the whole country. So, and the government's been covering it up ever since. I want everything to be brought out. Maybe it will turn out there wasn't a lone gunman. Maybe it won't. But I'm for openness. I'm for the people getting what they want. They want open information.
And just coincidentally, there was a law saying that it had to be released.
That they had to be released. Yeah, that's before I got in to be president. So what I've done since I got in is to support the release of documents as much as possible. There'll be more. It isn't over yet. But we also have my fellow American, Dennis Rodman, who's buddies with the North Korean tough guy. You'll find out later. You'll find out later. I'm doing it the best way possible, and you'll see it in the end. So, like the best commentators about me in politics, well, the best one is Scott Adams, who draws the Dilbert cartoon. He's also a brilliant political analyst. And he gets very little credit from the mainstream press, but you can find him on the internet, Scott Adams. And he understands that it's process. He understands that I'm neither a dodo nor a Hitler. Because the media at first and the public that was against me, they couldn't decide if I was a dodo or a Hitler. Well, the two are opposites. Hitler was a genius. And dodos usually aren't as evil as Hitler. So they couldn't figure out which I was. Which is how stupid they are. They couldn't figure me out. When I've been telling everybody all along what I'm really like, they don't believe me. And I had one of the bases of me and who I am, of course, is my parents, but also my church. So my church is not one of these Bible-thumping fundamentalist churches. You know what church is mine? Anybody? No? Presbyterian. That's my mother. Presbyterian is my mother because she's Scottish, from the Hebrides, from out in the sticks in the Hebrides, where they'd never heard of bottle feeding much. So I think I got a good start. So my mother's Presbyterian. So I call, officially I'm Presbyterian, but my church was actually the church. I went from Queens over to Manhattan on Sundays to see the most famous preacher at the time. Norman Vincent Peale wrote the book, The Power of Positive Thinking. You should read the book. It's good even today if you read that book. It's a bit dated in places, but a fabulous book which takes the best parts of the Bible, ignores the bad parts, and there are plenty of them, ignores the bad parts of the Bible, takes the best parts of the Bible, and adds psychology. All that was known about psychology up to the 40s and 50s are incorporated into this book by the famous Norman Vincent Peale. So if you want to understand me, read that book. Of course, my own book, which sold even more copies maybe, probably, The Art of the Deal, all about negotiation. Everything comes down to negotiation. At the end of the football team, the guys shake hands, pat each other on the bum, and they're friends until the next game. That's the game of life.
I noticed the other day that you had Melania get up and talk about children.
Melania, not Melania. That's what they call those kids.
Okay, what's her name again?
Melania.
Melania, with the accent. She got up and defended children against drugs and whatnot, and that's when you used her to butter up the audience and the press to be able to announce your attack against opioids in the United States as being one of their number one health problems. Just how do you intend to implement it, and why did Melania slap your hand away as you were coming down the ramp in Tel Aviv?
Well, I'm not going to get into my little sex games with my wife. But as far as we have a pretty hot thing going. But as far as the other thing, which was, what was the other thing now? You got me thinking about sex all of a sudden. What was the other thing?
Well, you had your...
Oh, the drugs, the fentanyl, right. So, of course, yeah, well, I don't know. I don't have it all planned out ahead of time. That's not how you run a country. That's not how you run a business. You don't have it all planned out ahead of time because things are constantly changing. You run down the field of the football field, not blindfolded, following some pre-program. No, you take each step according to the circumstances of that step. So I don't have a plan ahead of what to do about drugs. I have a strategy, I have principles about drugs.
Funding for it. You haven't given funding for it. How do you hope to accomplish what you'd like to accomplish without added monies to the different clinics and whatnot handling people who are addicted?
I didn't say there wouldn't be any money. One step at a time, okay? I'm trying to do 20 things at once, and I'm a pretty good multitasker. But you got to go back to the 60s and my hippie roots. So after Norman Vincent Peale, then there's the Beatles, and I grew my hair long, and I got hip, and I realized why people take drugs, and which drugs they take. So my brother, older brother, kind of old school, he was a smoker and a drunk. I mean, he's a great guy, but he died young. But he told me, Donald, don't ever drink. And if you talk to a lot of alcoholics and they're talking to some young person, they say the same thing. Don't ever drink. It's a mistake. It's a trick. They get you tricked into thinking you can drink moderately, but it's a trap. And that's the same for all the drugs, well, all the addictive drugs anyway. So I'm cool about that, and prohibition didn't work, so we have to have a more nuanced approach to drugs where we don't punish people, we help people. We help them get cured of their addictions and their compulsions, including drugs and sex and gambling. All these compulsions which make people unhappy are scams. They're business scams. I know about business scams. I tried to do some of them myself, but I learned better. Okay, you want another quick 30 seconds?
Yeah, you say you're a hippie. Will you take all of your organic, actual, true-blooded hippies in jail? Would you set them free out of jail, hire them with your guaranteed jobs, that all of them that love the spirit of Mother Earth and the spirit of Mary Jane and the spirit of the breast?
Yeah, okay, good. I'm going to do some of those things.
No.
Yeah, I'm going to...
That pot not be pimped out, but pot be given to everyone, no charge, because you don't want to pimp out the spirit.
Okay. We got your point, and I get your point.
There's enough wealth
Let me answer.
in poverty.
Of course. But you got to... Okay, so who are they going to... You have some great ideas.
No,
Let me talk.
The wealth of Mary Jane.
Who are the people... You have some great ideas. Are the people going to elect you or me?
No.
They're going to elect me. They did elect me because they knew that I would try to take her ideas and the right-wing Christian... You don't have the mic. They don't have the... I take the right-wing Christian ideas, I take your wacky ideas, and a lot of good ideas, and I synthesize it all in my psychedelic brain, and I come out with the salvation of humanity.
Does that
And that includes, it doesn't include anything in particular. It's the journey, not the goal. It's the journey, not the goal. I get there. I don't know much about prostitution. I never needed to pay for it. But if that's a principle. That's a principle. That's a principle. And I like your principle. And I have principles. And one of my principles is love for people. So I loved my brother. He loved me. He saved my life because I could have been dying in the gutter like him, alcoholic. He was a pilot, and then he killed himself physically with drinking and smoking. So I loved him, he loved me, and I learned the lesson. And now I'm trying to help the whole world teach, well, my country first. I said in my campaign speeches, I said in one of those big airplane hangars, I said, you know, this country drinks too much. And there was dead silence in the crowd. And I knew that I'd hit a nerve, but I also knew that it was good strategy, because I hadn't won the nomination yet, to leave it at that. Plant that seed in their minds that alcohol, even drinking beer during the NFL games, is not necessarily the way to be happy. So I planted that seed. I'm going to harvest that seed later. Maybe I'll harvest some marijuana seeds, even though I never use marijuana, never want to.
The company that got the contract to go in and help Puerto Rico is a brand new company. They're novices in the art of reconstruction, and there's only 2 men working there. And the government, your government, advised Puerto Rico to hire them. How in the hell did that company get that kind of an $11 million contract with Puerto Rico? How did that happen?
Well, I don't even remember all the details, but you're forgetting my strategy: hire and fire. Don't worry about it. If they don't put out, they're out.
There's only 2 of them.
She said there are only 2 of them. We'll see how they do. If need be, I go. It's like the little Dutch boy, and there are a whole bunch of leaks in the wall, and I only have so many fingers I can put in the wall at the same time, and I have to hire people to help me. And sometimes the little leaks don't get plugged up as fast as the big leaks. But it's the strategy. We do it all. We try to do it all, and the public responds. Now, you might also wonder why I always get everyone all riled up. Like I got everybody riled up about the kneeling during the football, singing the national anthem. But there's no, not at all. So it's not a distraction. What it is I'm intentionally getting the people riled up. So they want to take a knee, I'll give them a knee right where it hurts. No, I'm saying that to get people riled up, because we got to get people out of their complacency. They want to sit home, play video games, take their fentanyl, and I want to get them riled up and interested in politics. So I don't really care if they're for me, against me, as long as they get involved in politics. Just like this rally here. I don't give a damn if you're cheering me or if you're booing me. You're here. You're involved. You're hip. You're living life actively, not being a damn do-nothing, sitting home, living life vicariously through images, through chemicals, and so on. Get active, politically get active. So that's why I love it when people oppose me, because it gets them active. Maybe they'll join a political party. Get active in politics. It's fun. You get high. I get high on politics. Before it was business, now I'm getting high on politics.
Your opponent, Hillary Clinton, facilitated the sale of 20% of U.S. Uranium resources to Russia. How many years of torture should she receive in prison for that?
How many years of torture in prison?
No, go ahead.
You think I hate women, don't you? No, I don't like to talk. I don't like.
That wasn't a question of it could be anyone that has sold this, but, it could be Bush or the other.
Okay, in the first place, this is sort of an irrelevant detail because it doesn't have that much to do with the future. It's more about the past than the future. I'm living for today and for the future, and so it'll go through the court system, whatever it has to do, and whatever happens will happen. I'm not going to to the judge, try to give her a hard time and torture her. No. I already beat her. I don't need to beat her again. That's beating a dead horse. So I don't really want to torture anybody. I'd rather rehabilitate someone than punish them anyway.
What are you going to do if on Monday your son-in-law is the one that Mueller has taken into custody? And conversely, what will you do if it's Hillary Clinton?
Well, you're asking me for my playbook again, and the answer's the same. I'm not going to tell you my playbook for one thing, but I'll do the right thing based on how to get the country to the goalpost, right? But I believe in loyalty. I try to stay loyal to the people who are loyal to me as much as possible. So if it's at all possible to keep my son-in-law in the family, I will. But if he screwed up too bad, it's not my fault. So we'll see what happens, right? It's kind of a distraction, really, or I'd be saying, I'd be trying to put it center stage. I'm not trying to put that center stage. That's sort of an hors d'oeuvre at the side of the hall or something. Not so much of a big issue, I don't think.
But it's a big issue. Personally, I think that eventually both sides, they're going to have people on this. But this threatens your presidency if it turns out to be people very close to you. So how can it not be a big deal?
Nothing threatens my presidency. You don't understand. You don't understand the power of positive thinking. I guess you didn't. I guess you didn't read Norman Vincent Peale.
The impeachment process in the U.S. is not a legal thing. It's
Yes, it is. It's constitutional. It's legal. The Constitution is the law of the land.
It's legal in that way, but whatever decisions made is not overseen by the Supreme Court or a higher court. So basically,
You're right. It's not in the judicial branch,
basically, they can merely impeach you because they don't like you.
which they did to Clinton, but he was still president.
With what is it, 50 or 52 or whatever Republicans, 10 of them don't like you, and the Democrats, I don't know what the percentage is, but this is very threatening to you.
It's all part of the drama. You don't get the drama of American politics. You must have boring Canadian politics.
All right, if they do impeach you and Pence takes your position, what kind of a president do you think a radical religious right Bible thumper is going to make?
It's not going to happen, but if it does, I'll figure out something. Maybe I'll get a TV show and get him impeached. No, in the first place, they might impeach me, but they won't convict me, just like Clinton. So why did they... You got to get savvy about this. Why did they impeach Clinton? Because they thought that a little hanky-panky with a hanky in the Oval Office was the worst crime you can imagine? No way. Most of them did far worse themselves. But they never got caught. And they knew it. So it wasn't personal, it was political. Not personal, political. And not based on the law, it was based on political advantage. So they thought the best way to win the next election was by impeaching him, making him look bad, but letting him stay in office, because if his vice president came in, then he'd have a much better chance of winning the election, because the sitting president has a much bigger advantage than a vice president.
It's illegal to lie to Congress.
Details. He's worried about a politician lying. Yes, that would be so horrible if a politician ever lied. Oh, what would we ever do? The world would stop. No. They all lie. Okay, you don't know that? You're naive. Come on.
You don't like me, do you?
I love you unless you join the other team. Are you going to support Hillary?
Oh, God, no. I mean, no.
Okay, so you might be on my team next election, or at least not opposing me, so I love you. I love you if you're on my team, but I also love the opposing team. Because in football, you don't kill the other team. It's the game. It's the game of life, right? You love the other team. They're playing the fun game with you. Wrestling, same thing. You wrestle the other person skin to skin, that's got to cause a lot of love. I don't mean sexually. Well, maybe sexually. But anyway, it's the competition, the fun of the competition. Wrestling's kind of like sex.
What advice do you give your son, Baron?
Well, the same as all my children. First of all, I tell them 3 times a day, don't ever drink, don't ever smoke, don't ever take drugs. And that's same as in fact, you ask my older children and they say, yeah, on and on about the don't take drugs, don't take, okay, we know our uncle died. But they're all doing pretty good, maybe not as straight and narrow as me, but they're all doing pretty good. And so, I mean, are you talking about something particular about that child of mine as opposed to the others, or?
Baron is very protected by his mother. So how do you get past the motherly barriers to inculcate him or indoctrinate him into your way of thinking?
I don't, because my wife and I agree completely on everything. Why would I need to undermine his love for a mother? What do you think I am, a patriarch? No. We have a nice little matriarchy in my family. It's beautiful. My children love all their parents. We get along great. Everything's perfect. And if it weren't, we wouldn't tell you, because we're more loyal to each other than to go spouting off to the media about little problems we might have in our family. Unless you're sneaking into our sleeping quarters at night, you're not going to really know, are you?
I guess not, but I sure would love to.
You and all the other horny women of the world, yeah, I know. So separate bedrooms? Well, you ever? Are you old enough to remember I Love Lucy? Yes. Okay, so did they have separate bedrooms on that show on television? Yes, they did. Yes, they had separate. I think. Separate beds. Oh, separate beds, but not separate bedrooms. Okay. You pay for the hall, get your own show. So yeah, I Love Lucy, and Desi Aranas. You think that because on television, they have separate beds or separate bedrooms? No, that's fantasy, right? You don't know anything about our sex life. You'd be even more jealous if you did.
You don't want us to participate then?
Not in my bedroom.
No, I mean in the audience here.
You are. You're one of the most active. You're one of the best members of the audience. You're participating. What's your gripe?
Get your own show.
Oh, that don't you like a little friendly teasing, a little sarcasm, a little friendly nudge, nudge, wink, wink? You never watched Monty Python? Come on, man. We're having fun here. Nobody's walked out yet. He's pretending. Okay, good. He's good on the visuals. All right, this isn't radio. This could be television. You're good on the visuals. He gets up. He uses his body, right? So he knows television. Did you have something?
No. I want to know if that's padding in there. Here.
No, don't touch. Did you know I'm a germaphobe? Nobody touches me without my permission.
Let me explain. The reason I want to know if you have padding in there, I want to know the day that you came down to Wreck Beach and that I had my photograph taken with you. I was naked, you were dressed as Trump. If you had that on, at that time you must have been sweltering. Weren't you hot that day?
I have to suffer to lead the world, you know. There are certain sacrifices I have to make, right? I have to make a lot of sacrifices. I gave up my Playboy lifestyle to be president. Because, well, it's my ego, I admit, that in order to get the adoration of the entire world, I have to bring love and peace and harmony to the entire world, which is what I'm doing. But I have little tricks. So for instance, here's for the camera. See my socks here? No. Okay. Can you see this? I gotta do this for the camera. Okay, you see the holes there? Now this is a brand new pair of socks. So those holes are not holes of poverty. I'm a billionaire. Those holes are there to show you that we in the acting profession use little tricks. So those holes are there because I want my feet to be healthy, because I'm a health nut. And normally when you buy socks, they're way too tight. And us white people, we get red rings around our legs. You ever see those red rings around your legs when you take your socks off? Those are horrible for your circulation. But I'm a health nut. Yeah, do you see the red rings there? See, I'm right. I'm always right. So, everybody cut holes in your socks. I'm going to start a trend. It'll be viral on the interweb, whatever that is. All right. You're kind of, are you? Okay, he's too timid. He's no match for me, obviously. Well, they're my paid laughers. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have to pay my laughers. Everybody likes to laugh at my shows. All right. Have I convinced you yet?
Not at all. I want to know why you tried to ban transsexuals or sex changes from the military when some of them are still serving their country with a great deal of courage and dedication.
Because I'm playing for my team, but the story isn't over. The story isn't over. I realize it's cruel, it's unfair, it's not even good for the military to just leave it as it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up with a creative solution.
Why one of the reasons you gave was that it costs too much money to keep them in the service? How does it cost more money to keep them in the service?
For the operations. But we're going to find the money because, some of them were joining just so they could get the operations paid for. So, but we're going to have a healthcare system which will give them other options, other better options like you have in Canada. But to get back to the problem, it wasn't just the money. If it were just the money, we'd pay it. But there were other problems too with transsexuals because they've been through so much and they have so many difficulties in life that they actually cause a lot of problems in the military, a lot of social problems. Don't have time to get into all of them, but if you know any transsexuals, I think you're going to agree with me, and I know a few. So, and it's not their fault, but the solution, okay, she woke up. Okay, she's going to make another comment, but let me finish just a second, just about 30 seconds, and then I'll run over to you. So, try not to have a heart attack. So the solution, though, I'm all for creative solutions. So the solution goes back to the days of my parents, World War II, and they weren't so foolish back then, is to mix everybody in the same military. They had WACs, they had waves, which for you kids who don't know, is separate corps in the military for women only. So they were amongst themselves, they weren't raping each other. It was a really good solution. But then we come with this artificial, politically correctness, and that's another debate. But they say, let's mix everybody together because everyone's equal. No, everyone isn't equal. It causes problems. So I'm going to talk it over with my generals. If we can have a separate corps for trans people or or have separate men and women equal, and then the trans will have to go one way or the other. Okay. You haven't had a heart attack yet, so take the mic quick.
Let's let go of patriarchal lies that there's boys and girls. No, everyone's an X gene with an insy pussy for 3 months. X girl power, and then the Y gene, Y pussy. I've lived life on both sides of the hormones, the yin side and the yang side. And the patriarchy causes 100% of the social problems, economic problems, disease, violence, intolerance problems of a patriarchal God that hates breasts and hates pussies.
Right. All that I agree with. Yes, I do. What did I say? What did I say that was pro-patriarchal?
Yeah,
One thing.
it's not just what you're saying, it's your being.
Oh, now, okay. Whenever they can't prove you wrong, they say, well, yeah, you didn't say anything actually wrong, but it was your tone. It was your tone. So she's saying I didn't say anything wrong, but it was my tone. Fake news. But the good news is she's having her own show in the Friendly Festival next year.
You're infested with patriarchy in every word syllable. Your choice of words is patriarchy.
You'll be on the stage, and I'll be heckling you next year. This will be fun.
This will address your decision making. I'm not talking about policies, but one of the reasons you won was the attacks on your opponents, little Marco, blah, blah, blah. And also that you seem to, in the first statement when you announced, you said the Mexican thing in the worst possible way. It's making it seem like, they were all criminals. And do you regret now that this is reaping consequences where you're having trouble to govern?
I'm not having any trouble to govern. I didn't have any trouble getting elected. I didn't have any trouble with that statement. That statement got me more votes than it lost because...
I'm not questioning that. You won and you attracted attention. You didn't have to spend money. But now you can't even get a new health bill through. You don't have the support of all the people in your party. So now this is the karma.
No, I never had any support in my party, hardly any. I'm the hostile takeover. I'm making them dance to my tune. They're going to come up with a health care plan. No, I don't. What makes you they depend on me. Without me, they'd be nowhere. I even helped Rosie O'Donnell. Her career was hitting the tank until I said her name a few times.
What would make you decide to pull the plug on NAFTA? And one final question, and that is, I can't remember.
You'll have to come to our last peace rally tomorrow here at 2 p.m. So I'm not going to, first of all, I'm not going to give you my playbook ahead of time. Second of all, I've already told you my style, so I'm going to do everything according to my strategic genius, and with the goal of getting to the goal, which is peace and love and happiness for the whole world, because I'm a peace hippie. Peace and love, brothers and sisters. Thank you very much. You're welcome. Did you know I can sing? What the world needs now is love, sweet love. All you need is love, love. Be sure to wear some flowers in your hair. Give me a head with hair, long beautiful hair. Kicks won't bring you peace of mind. You don't own me. Don't tell me what to do. He's the universal soldier and he really is to blame. Maybe someday you'll join us and the world will be as one.